Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to the Red Mist podcast with me, Seshadri, and welcome to Match Day Raw reactions from Liverpool versus Manchester United. Yes, it is the biggest game in English football. I don't care what Arsenal fans say about the North London derby. I don't care what any other fans say about any other derby. Liverpool versus Manchester United, the two most successful clubs in England, two of the most successful clubs in Europe. This has got to be the one. This has got to be the biggest game in English football. And it has a lot riding on it today as well because Manchester United are coming into Anfield as league leaders. They are 3 points clear of Liverpool at the top of the Premier League table. And the last time that happened, the last time Manchester United came to Anfield as league leaders was in 1997 when they actually came out as 3-1 winners at Anfield. So pretty ominous signs there if you're one for history and omens and things like that. But definitely, I think it's got a lot riding on it. I don't think anyone expected Manchester United to be up there. I don't think even United fans expected them to be up there. I think at the start of the season, if you had said 17 games into the year, you'd be top of the table. I think they would have sold an arm, a leg, their house, their car, everything for that one sentence as well, for that one sentence to come through. But Manchester United against Liverpool, always a big game. The history of this game, everyone knows it. I mean, it's fiery, it's feisty, perennial contenders, two of the most successful clubs in history. United more recently successful before Jurgen Klopp, obviously. Before that, you had the 70s and the 80s with Liverpool, and then before that, you had the 60s with the Busby Babes and things like that. So, a lot of history riding between these two clubs, and not just Manchester United and Liverpool, obviously. And I'm going to belabor this point a little bit, but United and Liverpool, they sort of represent the cities that they're from. They Manchester and Liverpool, obviously, and obviously both these cities have other clubs in them. Everton's there in Merseyside, and Manchester City is there on the other side of Manchester. But it doesn't quite have the same feel when Liverpool play Manchester City. Yes, Manchester City is a title contender, probably from a competitive standpoint, the bigger of the two Manchester clubs, the bigger rival of the two Manchester clubs, really, over the last couple of years. But it just doesn't have the same feel to it. Yes, it's a big game, it's a massive game when we play City, but from a historical point of view, from just what it means to the fans, to the clubs on both sides, Liverpool versus Man United has got to be it. It's just got to be that thing. It's just got to be that game. It's just got to be the game. And I know, a lot of Manchester fans, United fans will be like, and I know a lot of United fans will agree, like, when fixture list comes out, this is the game that you look for first. Like, a lot of Manchester United fans will agree. A lot of Liverpool fans will agree as well, because it's just that huge. It's just that important. But for those of you who don't know what this segment is, what Raw reactions are, it's basically a compilation of me recording my reactions to the game before it starts, at halftime and at full time, and then compiling them into one full episode with my thoughts. So it's live, it's unfiltered, sometimes has swear words in it. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But always a nervous time, when it's Liverpool against Manchester United, but especially so this year because, you've got a lot riding on it. If United win this, they go 6 points clear of Liverpool. Now, at any stage of the season, that's a big margin. That is quite a big margin at any stage. Obviously, I'm not saying it can't be reduced, but it is a big margin to cover up. And we're going to need to win this to ensure, that there is still a title race and we're still in it. At this stage of the season, at least, I'm not saying we can't get back into it. And, all it takes is like for United to lose 2 games and, you're right. And for us not to screw it up and, you're right back in it. But, it is what it is. It's going to be a difficult game. It's going to be a nervy game. But I think this time the lack of a crowd at Anfield, I think that's going to help United more. I don't think Liverpool will be hindered. I think the motivation to play Liverpool, I don't think Liverpool will be hindered because they're playing at Anfield. They know what this game means, and Anfield's a fortress. They know they don't want to lose that home record, and least of all, they don't want to lose to Manchester United. So they know what's riding on this game. But I think from a United perspective, I think the lack of a crowd is really going to help them because, and Paul Scholes mentioned it on Premier League Matchday Live. When he said, when you're at Anfield, you don't have a lot of time on the ball because the whole place seems to collapse in on you. and there's the crowds into it. It's the paying for your blood if you're a United player, and it's just a very difficult place to go to. Anfield's always a very difficult place to go to for away teams, but especially Manchester United. Most of all for Manchester United. Um, but yeah, I mean, enough about Liverpool and Manchester United. Just the history of the clubs, the fixtures. Like I said, the two clubs represent the cultures of the two cities. You've got the Beatles on one side. You've got the I forgot what's the Manchester band's name. Very famous people. Um, I forgot. But you've got the Beatles on one side. You've got a band from Manchester which is very very famous. I forgot the name. Because I don't listen to their music as much, but obviously you've got the Beatles, you've got Coronation Street in Manchester, you've got history, you've got Sir Alex, Sir Kenny. There's just a lot. There's just a lot riding on this game. Just Liverpool versus Manchester United is a fixture that carries a lot of weight. It does. It carries a lot of weight. But let's get to raw reactions pre-game. Let's get to the lineups here. And as per usual on this show, we start with the visitors or with the other team if you're playing at home, if you're playing away from home. But in this case, because it's Anfield, we're going to start with the visitors, and we've got an interesting lineup, and I guess it's kind of expected, but it's also a little bit interesting. I'll just run through the lineup. So we've got David De Gea and goal, no surprises there. Luke Shaw at left back, Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Scott McTominay and Fred playing in front of them as a double pivot of holding midfield. Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, and Paul Pogba on as part of the attacking midfield trio, and Anthony Martial up front. Now, personally, I think Paul Pogba on the left wing is a little bit of a gamble. He has played there for a brief time. He has played well for a brief time there, but I don't think he's as effective there. I think this is Ole just sort of fitting in Pogba into the team because he has to. Now, what I can see him doing, what this does give Ole the ability to do is to switch to a back three if he wants to, because Scott McTominay has played in a back three. Luke Shaw has played in a back three as well. So it gives him the ability to do that. Scott McTominay has played in the back three for Scotland, I should clarify. It gives him the ability to shift to that. Do I see him doing that? I don't think so. Maybe if Liverpool apply consistent pressure, then I think, and the game is still 0-0, then I think we may see him do that, but I doubt it. Because for Manchester United Scots, McTominay has always played in the holding midfield role. But it does give him the flexibility to do that, I suppose. Now, is that the best thing to do against Liverpool? Possibly, because the last couple of games, obviously, especially if it's late in the game, I can see him doing that. Although if it's late in the game, I can also see him making a substitution, bringing on a central defender, and switching to a back three with three established central defenders. But there's a lot of possibilities. This formation does have a lot of possibilities attached to it. Now, Paul Pogba on the left wing, like I said, I'm not convinced, but he has done well. I'm not convinced, obviously, because that's not his best position, but he has done well. If it does switch to a three at the back, though, I can see Scott McTominay dropping into centre half, into centre half, and then you've got Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, and you got a two of Pogba and a three of Pogba, Fernandes, and Fred, and then up front you've got Martial and Rashford playing off of each other. Now, this is something that has worked in the past when you've had two strikers playing off of one another, especially for United. It's worked in the past, so they could potentially return to that, especially considering that we have problems at centre half. They could potentially go to a two at the back, a two up front, and that could cause problems for our centre backs. Given that neither of our centre backs today, and we'll get to our lineup today in a little bit, but given that neither of them are first choice, it could cause problems. But do I see them doing that? I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe later on in the game, if they're trailing, I do see Cavani coming on, for example. But anyway, let's just go through their bench as well. On the bench, they've got Dean Henderson, Donny van de Beek, Nemanja Matic, Mason Greenwood, Axel Tuanzebe, Edinson Cavani, Alex Telles, Juan Mata, and Eric Bailly as well. Now, this is one thing that I've noticed. A lot of people seem to have skirted over this fact, but Manchester United have one of the best squad depths that I've seen. It's not obviously Manchester City, but outside of City and Chelsea, I think this is one of the best squad depths that I've seen. So it's right up there. Like I think Liverpool does not have a squad depth as good as this. Let's be real. But it is what it is. We'll see how the game pans out. Hopefully, we can get an early goal, and then just put United on the back foot. And Pogba on the left is maybe a little bit of a relief as well, because if Rashford was playing on the left, I can see our right centre back and our right back, which is obviously going to be Trent, having lots of issues. But because it's Pogba, maybe we might be spared of a few things. But that being said, Martial's going to drift out wide. Rashford's probably going to switch wings at some point. I mean, look, anything can happen in a football game. It's very fluid, and yeah, so you never know. But let's now move on to the hosts. Let's now move on to Liverpool's lineup, obviously. Allison in goal, Andy Robertson, Fabinho, Jordan Henderson, Trent Alexander-Arnold is the back line. We've got Shaqiri, Wijnaldum, Thiago as the midfield. We've also got Mane, Firmino and Salah up front. So no surprises when it comes to who's playing up front. No surprises when it comes to goalkeeping. But in defense, we've got Jordan Henderson. Now, I was not particularly convinced of Jordan Henderson when he was at centre back against Southampton, but or against Flamengo, which was I think the last time he played there. But Klopp somehow seems to trust him, and I guess at the end of the day, in a big game like this, I guess the option of experience is probably a little bit more reliable. Now, I'm a huge fan of Jordan Henderson, but honestly, I don't want to see him play centre back, to be completely honest, because I just don't think he's cut out for it. And that's not a knock on Jordan Henderson, because it's obviously not his natural position. But I just don't think he's cut out for it. I think he gets caught way too often. He's just not a natural. So, but that being said, when your quote unquote natural centre backs are Nat Phillips and Reece Williams, what do you do? So it's a double-edged sword. You don't know which option to go with, because both of them are going to hurt you. Have the potential to hurt you anyway. So you just don't know which option to go to. But Klopp's gone with Jordan Henderson. I'm going to trust him. Personally, I'm not a big fan of it. I would much rather have had Reece Williams with Jordan Henderson covering him on that side. But we'll see how it goes. Now, personally, midfield, even though the OneFootball app, which I use for formations and stuff, it's showing me a 3-man midfield as in a 4-3-3. I don't think it's going to be a 4-3-3. I think it's going to be Wijnaldum and Thiago in a double pivot, with Shaqiri playing as a central attacking midfielder. I think that's what's going to happen in the game, because I think Shaqiri in a central midfield role, he's good, but he's not going to be as effective, I don't think. Playing in that number 10 role behind the strike, I think he's going to be really, really good. He might start out as a 4-3-3 midfield just to test the waters, I suppose. But the one thing I will say is this, I've slagged on Klopp's selection a little bit previously, but this game, this is, whether this was forced because of injury, because of circumstance, whatever it is, this is the kind of selection that I want. I want us to be on the front foot. Wijnaldum, Thiago and Shaqiri is a midfield that is creative, that is dynamic, that will play passes, that will try to break through lines, that will try and catch the opposition defense napping, and that can produce moments of magic on their own. Thiago and Shaqiri especially. So, I don't think we're losing anything by having Shaqiri in the lineup, and I think we're gaining a lot of things that maybe we didn't have in games past. Mane and Salah on the left and right wings respectively, no surprises there. Bobby Firmino starts up front, so that's good as well. Now, it's going to be key for the front three to perform. It's going to be key for Henderson to perform, because this is not going to be an easy game. Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, that's not an easy game to play. That's not an easy front line to play. Paul Pogba as well, that's not going to be easy. If Pogba's on his day, if he's found his form, that's not going to be easy at all. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I haven't felt nervous for a home game against United in a while. I think maybe the last time was... it's been a while. It's genuinely been a while. I think there have been games, in recent years against United at home, I've sort of expected a win, because United was just so far off Liverpool. And in years before that, United was so far ahead of us that, especially during the Sir Alex Ferguson days, United was so far ahead of Liverpool that sometimes you just go into games, even at Anfield, knowing that you could potentially lose it, and you are likely to lose it. But this year is very different. Manchester United in number 1, Liverpool in number 2, 3 points between us and them, and it's all to play for. I'm excited. I'm hyped up for this game, but I'm also a little bit nervous. It's been a long while since I've been nervous for a Liverpool United game. But yeah, that's gonna do it from me from the pre-game segment of Raw Reactions. Do keep listening, because the next segment of the show is going to be recorded from halftime, and the segment after that is going to be full time. So halftime is probably going to be about a 10-minute segment where I just discuss the first half, see how it's gone, and hopefully um, dissect a couple of things. Hopefully, not too many events have happened that I run out of time before the second half starts. But yeah, that's halftime, and then full time we'll sort of do a recap of the whole game, just try and see what's gone on, what's gone wrong, what's gone right, and things like that. And obviously, because it's a big game, I'll be emotional if we win, I'll be emotional if we lose. It is going to be what it is. But that is going to do it from the pre-game segment, and stay tuned for halftime. Right, guys, it is halftime at Anfield, and it is nil nil. Liverpool nil, Manchester United nil. Apparently, I can't speak anymore. But that was an interesting 45 minutes. I can't lie. Liverpool, we played most of the half inside their part of the field, so we were dominant in possession. We were. I wouldn't say we created chances, and I feel like we could do that better, but we definitely were the better team in terms of just sort of having the ball, just looking more dangerous at any given point in time. Now there were a couple of chances, there were a couple of opportunities that I felt like we could have taken better, and there were a couple of things that I felt like we could have done better, and we would not be in a nil-nil. We would probably be in a 1-0 or a 2-0 situation where we were in the lead. But I mean, there were a couple of things, like I said, that I felt we could have done better, but we just didn't. And let's talk about the first half. Right from early on, I thought the intent was there. There was no question about it. And as far as player performances go, the one sort of thing that I was afraid of was Jordan Henderson at centre back. And I will be very, very honest. It was I was scared. I was scared of Jordan Henderson at centre back. Listen, I am the biggest Jordan Henderson fan, but genuinely, I was scared. But he's done well. He's done really well so far. Obviously, there's still another half to go, but he's done really well so far. And I just, yeah. I mean, for me, I thought they were really good. I thought they played really well. United sat deep and they tried. They did. United did have their breaks. They did get forward not a fair amount, but a few times. They did get up there, try to make things happen in our half, and they won a couple of free kicks, which I thought we defended well, because any aerials. I think it's very important that we don't concede corners and free kicks, though, because I do genuinely feel like United have an insurmountable advantage in that respect. We did concede a couple of free kicks, and Bruno Fernandes came close with one of them, but it definitely got Alisson diving, thinking his post was not safe. So yeah, I mean, look, for me, this entire half has just been about Liverpool, though, to be honest. Like midfield, Wijnaldum. One thing that surprised me, I thought we would play a 4-2-3-1 with Shaqiri behind the striker, behind Bobby Firmino, but it's turned out to be more of a 4-3-3 with Thiago at the base of it and Wijnaldum and Shaqiri pouring forward. I did think that I thought we were dominant. I thought our midfield played really well. I thought. I thought Wijnaldum was really good. I thought Shaqiri was really good. I thought Salah and Mane looked very dynamic. I thought Shaqiri especially added a level of attacking threat and a level of directness and a level of creativity in midfield that we haven't quite seen in recent games. And generally throughout the season, we haven't quite seen that. We've had it at times with Curtis Jones, but he's more of an unpolished product. Curtis is, but definitely I thought I thought our midfield did really, really well. I thought all of them were quite impressive. I genuinely do think that. A couple of things, though, that I do want to point out. I think Bobby Firmino's had a very, very underwhelming game, and that's even that is an understatement of the year, because he's just been bad. And I know he had a couple of chances, and one of them fell to his left foot, which he hits. Both of them fell to his left foot, which one of which he skied, and the other one which he hit down on the. Down straight at David De Gea, which was obviously the first shot on target in the game. What I will say is, you know, he's just been really bad. Like even his link up play has been bad. Even his, even the one time when he got the ball, him and Mane had attracted everyone, and Robertson was pretty much free down the left hand side, and he goes for this awkward shot, which I just don't get. He goes for this absolute awkward shot, which on his left foot, he's never going to get that into the back of the net. So why not just give it to Robertson, who has a clean run in at goal? And I do. Look, I just don't think. I just don't think Bobby's got what it takes right now to be starting for Liverpool. Now, I'm not saying Minamino is the answer. I don't know, but the thing is, Minamino has not got as many chances as Firmino has. So for me, that's worrying. That's really worrying. Um, yeah, it's really worrying because Firmino needs to be playing well. We can't just be carrying a passenger. We can't just be in a stage where we're just carrying a player even if he doesn't perform. We're just playing him week in, week out. Like that can't be Liverpool Football Club, especially not in big games. We can't afford to carry passengers in big games. And, when his attacking play is not good, when his passing is not good, when his link-up play is not good, he loses most of what made Bobby Firmino. And that, to me, that is the biggest disappointment. Like, it's okay if he doesn't score goals. We've got Mane and Salah for that. But definitely, it's just not, it's not ideal. It's not right. It's not ideal. It's not right that he's still starting because genuinely, I think there are other players who could do a better job. Now, do I think Minamino is the answer? I don't know. I'm not very optimistic. But the fact is, Minamino's not got too many chances playing in that position. So I can't truly make a proper judgment on him as well. Now, I'm not optimistic based off of what I've seen. But then again, it is what it is, like I said. And, one thing I will say is the atmosphere is a big part of this game. And one of the reasons I feel like we're not maybe pushing, we're not maybe all the way there, I still feel like we've got one more gear left to hit, which we're not hitting consistently across the season. I feel like that's because of the atmosphere. I feel like when we had fans in the stadium for that brief period, when we even had just 2,000 fans in the stadium, I felt like we were really, really, like, we hit a gear that we didn't quite hit since, or we haven't quite hit since, and we hadn't hit it before as well. So I just look. I think we're capable of better. I just don't know if that is going to come anytime soon. But anyway, getting back to the game itself, we do, like I said, everyone's playing well. We're not creating clear cut chances, but we have, one or two more passes if they played right, one or two more one or two more things if they're done right. I feel like we can get that opening goal. I feel like we've been the better team. Yes, United have had a few forays into our defense, into our box, but generally they've been quiet on that front. One thing I will say though, what is wrong with Paul Tierney? What is wrong with this guy? Like, he blew for halftime 5 seconds before it was halftime, and he blew it right when we had a through ball and Mane was getting into their half. Like, you could see Thiago was frustrated at that because that is halftime. Like, there was still 5 seconds. You added 1 minute, not 55 seconds, not 50 seconds, not 58 seconds. You added 1 minute. So at least let 1 minute go before you blow the whistle. Like, that makes no sense, especially considering this was not just Liverpool, playing the ball amidst centre backs. This was Liverpool who had just played a through ball, and Mane is getting that. Like, it makes no sense. And then there's there's teams which they promise 2 minutes of added time and they get 3 or 4, and it just makes no sense. Like, and I'll be very honest, United have been getting a lot of soft fouls this season, and this game especially. I thought Paul Tierney's refereeing was absolutely crap today. He deserves to be investigated, as do referees over the past decade, to be completely honest with you. Because, I think they're all just closet United fans, to be honest. But yeah, Paul Tierney, embarrassing. Some of the stuff that he gave. I remember him giving a foul on Shaqiri for just bending over while someone else was going for a header. Now, I'm not saying that's right. I think that's a foul. But what I will say is, Harry Kane does this week in, week out. No fouls are given. And he does this on purpose, knowing that a guy is going for a header. He will do this to try and deliberately get someone injured. He will do this to try and deliberately win a free kick, and he will get it because he's England's golden boy. He can do no wrong. But apparently, Zidane Shaqiri can, just because he's not English. It's just the same thing that Shaqiri does, Harry Kane does, and when Shaqiri does, it's a foul. When Kane does, it's not a foul. It's just politics, honestly. Refereeing, if you want to be a good referee in England, you should just be a good politician, to be completely honest with you. So, yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. No real clear-cut chances to talk about other than the Bobby Firmino one, which was straight at De Gea. Yeah, but he needs to do a lot better, man. Firmino just needs to do a lot better. He needs to buckle up. He needs to pull his socks up, and he just needs to finish better. He just needs to link up play better. He needs to use his brains. He needs to use his eyes a little bit more. Like something's not right. He's just completely out of form, out of whack at this point, and someone needs to just get him back in shape. But that is it from me at halftime. Hopefully by full time we've got 3 points and we are doing much better than what we are right now. Obviously we're doing really well, but I hope we kick on and get the 3 points. But that is going to be it from me right now. I will see you guys back again at full time. Stay tuned. Right, guys, it is full time and it is 0-0. That is the final score from Anfield. Allison, what a keeper, man. He's literally, this 1 point that we have from this game is literally just dedicated to him. It's because of him. He is my man of the match. Made two absolutely wonderful saves. One against Bruno Fernandes with his leg, and the other one was, I think, of Paul Pogba, I want to say. But either way, he kept us in the game 0-0 because otherwise Man United they were going to take 3 points out of this game. And that would have been really, really cruel because, Liverpool, we were the dominant team. I can't lie. We were the better team throughout the game. But if Man United were the team with the better chances. Let's not. There's no two ways about it. Man United were the team with the better chances. They counterattacked well. They had this sort of chemistry which our front line seemed to lack, and I can't even stress that enough. I can't understand for the love of God why Bobby Firmino was on the pitch for as long as he was, because he was some of his decision making in the final third, and I touched upon it at halftime as well, but some of his decision making in the final third was atrocious. Mo Salah's looked very ineffective every time he's been outnumbered on the ball. He's not been able to find a way out, an effective way out anyway. It's just, this sort of performance is, it's not going to win us a title. It's not going to, we're not going to keep this up, and we're not going to be a team that finishes first in the league table. We're not going to be that team for sure. United, on the other hand, if you can come to Anfield with that game plan and almost pull off a win, let's not forget, if it wasn't for Alisson, they go out of this game with 3 points. And at no point in time, even in the second half or even in the first half, at no point in time can I say that Liverpool created a clearer chance. Liverpool created a chance that was worthy of a win. Now, there's a lot of factors that go into this, and our centre-back injuries have played a part, this has played a part, that has played a part. There's a lot of things, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. You have to deal with it, and you have to deal with the fact that teams are going to come to Anfield and sit back. You are going to have to deal with the fact that teams are going to come to Anfield and put 4 at the back, or 8 at the back, 2 banks of 4. Whatever it is, we've got Burnley next, and Burnley's going to do the same thing, because they're going to be looking at West Brom, they're going to be looking at Newcastle, and they're going to be looking at Southampton second half, and they're going to be looking at United, and they're going to be saying, you know what, this works. 1 game can be an off game for Liverpool. 2 games might be a fluke. 3 games and 4 games where the same sort of tactics of sitting back behind the ball works, that's not coincidence. That's just what it is. Liverpool can't seem to break them down. Liverpool can't seem to break down Manchester United. Manchester United. And it's just one of those things. It's just very. It's just something you have to be prepared for, because, look, I do think that we can break them down. I do think our front line needs some rhythm, needs some rest mainly. I think that's also a big factor. The fact that they've not got any rest, the front three, I think that's a major factor, and they do need to do that, and Diogo Jota being absent is, one of Klopp's major crimes this season, if I can call it that. Um, yeah, look, there's a lot of things that go into this, but right now, the way we're playing, I don't see us winning the title. I forget the title. I don't see us winning against the likes of Burnley, for example. And I keep bringing up Burnley because they're the ones who are playing next against us. So, yeah, I have no hopes for this team right now. I feel like this team is it's just blunt. Like there's no intent, there's no purpose, there's no chemistry, there's like people are not scared of Liverpool. Like people, the last couple of years, and even this year, until the Crystal Palace game, people were scared of Liverpool. Liverpool's front line carried a threat. Liverpool's midfield was good. Liverpool's fullbacks were the best in the business, and so on and so forth. But right now, there's just nothing. It's just empty. It's like I don't know. It's just like we can't seem to penetrate any defense. We just lack that. We just lack a lot of things. And I am at a loss to explain why that is, because you can say rest, you can say out of form. It's just I'm at a loss to pinpoint one major factor. Let's put it that way, because I think it's a lot of things. But at some point, you have to accept that there is something seriously wrong with this club, with the way we're playing football. We don't seem to have a plan B. Although today I will say Shaqiri played really well, Thiago played really well. Shaqiri looked a little bit gassed towards the end, but I do think he played really, really well. And today, I think the one positive that I will take out of this game is we saw a level of dynamism from midfield that we haven't seen in recent games, and that should carry us in good stead. Now, is every team going to be as good at defending as Manchester United are? Probably not, or Manchester United were today. Probably not. But that being said, a well-drilled side like Burnley, they will be looking at this and thinking they can actually get a result. It's just disappointing performances. I think Bobby Firmino for me was the most disappointing. Trent first half was all right, but second half just dipped again. It was the same old story of his crosses not beating the first man. Some of his misplaced passes were just awful. The misplaced header back aimed for Allison, and even in the first half, I think he got saved because of an offside flag, but he missed a header even in the first half, which nearly led to a chance on goal for Manchester United. So a lot of things have gone wrong for Trent this season. He's just not been the same player that he's been the last couple of years. He needs to buckle up his game. He needs to do a much better job. And it just some of these things just don't make any sense. And I just at some point you just at a loss to explain what all of this is, because you have so many factors that play a part, but there's a sort of refusal to believe that they can have such a big impact, they can have such a big drop off, because Crystal Palace was not too far off ago. Like, it was not too far along in terms of history. So if you can play that well, and then suddenly the next 4 games you're playing really, really crappy football, for lack of a better term, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, okay, you know what, West Brom, bad game, fine, fair enough. But Newcastle comes up, again, finishing's a problem. It's just, I know I'm all over the place with this one, like the way this monologue is going, I'm all over the place. But it's just a reflection of how our front line is, how our finishing is. It's all over the place. It's just not good enough. We're not clinical. We're not incisive. And I don't know. We appear too static at times. This game was an exception. We didn't quite appear static this game. I think we were really good. But there were times against Newcastle, Southampton, and West Brom where I was just like, this team is so static that I like, there's no movement off the ball, there's no movement on the ball. There's just, It's just really bad. It was just really bad the last couple of games. But this game, obviously, it's been a little bit better. Like I said, Shaqiri and Thiago playing together, Wijnaldum being there as well, added a little bit of dynamism that we didn't have before. So fair enough. But yeah, I mean, it's just there's just certain things. I know something's going wrong. I just don't know what, and I wish I knew what was going wrong. Let's just put it that way. But positives from this game, like I said, Thiago has been really, really good. Shaqiri was really, really good. I thought the creativity there, even Wijnaldum played really well. I thought our midfield as a whole was one of the most attacking units that we've ever put out. And I thought all of them did really, really well. So kudos to them. Even Curtis Jones, once he came on, seemed all right. Didn't have too much time to influence the game though, so can't really speak too much on his performance. But I thought he did well. Henderson at centre back, absolutely brilliant. I will admit I was very, very skeptical of Hendo playing at the back, but he's done really well this game. Credit where credit's due. He's done really well this game. He had a little moment, I think, once when Bruno, he didn't track Bruno Fernandes. I don't know if there was a miscommunication between him and Robertson. Bruno managed to get in between both of them and try and make a run. I think it was offside eventually, but it was very close. And had it been onside, I think Bruno would have been through on goal. So, little moments like that, but that's kind of expected. I think he wasn't as terrible as he was against Southampton, for example, or Southampton. That's the only other game he played centre back this season. So, he wasn't as terrible there. He wasn't as terrible today as he was there. So that's a really big positive. Hopefully, he can build on this, and hopefully, Henderson and Fabinho, if they can prove that they can play centre back really well, then I think I would settle for a lineup that includes Thiago, Wijnaldum, and Shaqiri as a midfield, because it is an attacking midfield. They looked good today. Alisson, I touched upon it earlier. He's my man of the match. I think he will be the man of the match for a lot of Liverpool fans and players. I thought he made amazing saves. His reading of the game was really well. Even coming off his line, I know it was offside, but even the way he got the ball off Rashford's feet, he looked in command of his box, of whatever he was doing. He looked very assured, and I thought that was very, very important for us. And if not for him, honestly, I really do think Manchester United would have come away from this game with 3 points. I really do believe that. Now, overall, I thought our game lacked finishing, but aside from that, and our front three was, like I said, they lacked chemistry. But aside from that, I really do think, we played really well. I really do think we demonstrated what it took to. We showed our quality, I thought, as defending champions. The only thing we need to do is finish. Now, I know it's only midway through the season, half the season is still there, but we can't keep using that same excuse and that same stock standard, defense has injuries, this, that. We were just not good. Sometimes you're just not good enough. Today was the day when the front three was not good enough, and that's let us down. They've not been good enough for the last few games. That's let us down. And I just genuinely feel like we can do a lot better as a team, as a club. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's me from full time. I was hoping we'd get 3 points. Didn't quite happen. But that's the way football goes sometimes. I think we're still third. I think we can slip down to fourth if I'm not wrong. But we're there or thereabouts anyway. We're still in the title race though. It wasn't a loss, so I guess that's one way of looking at it. And United aren't 6 points clear of us at this point, so it is what it is. But yeah, that's the end of Raw Reactions from Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for all the support on the podcast. Do keep following, do keep subscribing on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you get your podcasts from. My name is Seshadri. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the podcast episode. I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.